Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are going to look at how modern relationships are changing. Our world is moving really fast right now. The old rules of love, family, and marriage, well, they just aren't the only choices anymore. So let's dive in and look at these big changes. We will see how people are finding totally new ways to live.
Okay, let's start things off with a pretty big question. Is traditional marriage broken? Does it simply ask too much of us? You see, a lot of people today are feeling really tired. They look at the traditional path and think, wow, this just doesn't fit my modern life. The pressure is honestly super high. Let's break down exactly why that is.
Here is our map for today's explainer. First, we will look at the problems with traditional marriage. Next, the choice to stay single. Then we will ask, what is polyamory? After that, understanding open marriages. And finally, finding your own path.
Let's jump right into part 1, problems with traditional marriage.
The real issue here is that traditional marriage tries to do way too much. Think about it. In the past, people lived in big groups, right? Grandparents, aunts, and neighbors all shared the daily work. But today, we expect one single partner to do it all. We expect them to bring in the money, keep a perfect romantic connection, raise the kids flawlessly, and even care for elderly parents. That is a huge weight for one person to carry. Life moves so fast now, and jobs take up so much time. When one person tries to be the main provider, a perfect parent, and a best friend, they often break under the stress. It is literally just too much to ask.
And because of that heavy weight, many people are simply walking away. To put that into perspective, in some groups in Japan, up to 40% of people are now expected to stay single for life. 40%! That is a massive shift. People are looking at the huge demands of marriage and choosing a completely different way. They see those high expectations and they just say, no thanks. They decide that walking alone is much safer than carrying that giant, heavy box of stress. This isn't just a small trend either. It is actually changing the future of the whole country.
That brings us to part 2, the choice to stay single. Let's see how this is becoming a really positive choice. Being single is definitely no longer seen as a failure. A lot of people are actively choosing to stay single because they want freedom and peace. They want 100% control over their own money and their own time. Think about a busy worker. You work so hard all week. When the weekend finally comes, you probably just want to rest, right? You don't want to argue about money or go visit the in-laws. You just want to live at your own pace. You want to sleep late? Great, you sleep late. There is no forced family time. In our super busy world, that kind of absolute freedom is really attractive.
This slide really shows the difference. Single life offers quiet rest, while married life requires a lot of compromise. In a marriage, you always have to guess how your partner is feeling. You literally have to read the room all the time. If they are angry, you feel it. If they are sad, you have to help. We call this emotional labor. And honestly, it never stops. All that emotional work takes up a ton of energy. For some people, especially introverts, carrying that shared stress is just exhausting. Single people, they don't face that constant emotional labor. Their home is their own quiet, safe zone.
Now, there is a very common myth that says being single means you are going to be lonely, but actually, that is completely false. Single people build their own strong safety nets. You manage your own health, you control your own money, and you choose your friends very carefully. Modern single people are actually very active. They rely on deep, close friendships instead of just one romantic partner. Because they aren't spending all their energy on marriage problems, they have way more energy to give to their communities. Really, if you have basic life skills and good friends, being single is a super stable and peaceful way to build your life.
Now, let's switch gears for part 3. What is polyamory? Let's look at a totally new form of love.
So, if traditional marriage feels too heavy but single life just isn't your thing, what else is out there? Well, one choice is polyamory. This means having consensual, loving, and romantic relationships with multiple people at the exact same time. The word actually comes from poly, meaning many, and more, meaning love. Notice the key words here, consensual and loving. We are talking about deep emotional bonds, not just sex. Everyone involved knows about the other relationships. There are no tricks and no hiding. It is really all about building a whole community of love.
A really core belief in polyamory is that love is not finite. It is not like a pizza where taking a slice leaves less for someone else. Loving more people does not reduce the love you have for your first partner. This brings up a really interesting idea called compersion. Compersion is when you feel genuine, true joy because your partner is happy with someone else. You don't feel jealous at all. Imagine your partner comes home super happy from a date. Instead of feeling threatened, you actually celebrate their joy with them. It is a completely different way to think about romance, isn't it?
And this is exactly why polyamory is completely different from cheating. Cheating relies on lies and hiding things. But polyamory, it relies completely on the truth. It requires total transparency. Everyone involved must give 100% agreement. You have to build incredibly deep trust. Before anything even happens, all the partners must sit down and talk. They have to agree on what is safe and okay. If there are secrets, well then it's not polyamory. It is just breaking the rules. Total honesty is absolutely the foundation here.
Moving right along to part 4, understanding open marriages. Let's explore another option.
Now, an open marriage is a bit different from polyamory. In an open marriage, a legally married couple agrees to allow sexual relationships outside of their marriage. The core married couple is always the most important piece of the puzzle. They share a legal bond, a home, and maybe even kids. They plan to stay married forever. They might meet physical needs with other people, but they don't build deep romantic love outside the marriage. So they open the boundaries, but really just for sex. The marriage itself always comes first.
If you look at this table, you can clearly see how honesty and rules make both polyamory and open marriages totally different from secretly cheating. Polyamory focuses on emotion and love, with full consent. Open marriage focuses on physical needs outside the main couple, also with full consent. Cheating, on the other hand, has zero consent and relies entirely on secrets. The differences are super clear, right? In these non-traditional styles, consent is absolutely required. Everyone says yes, but in cheating, someone is always kept in the dark.
To make an open marriage actually work, couples have to put in a lot of hard work. They have to follow some pretty strict steps. You can't just wake up one day and decide to open your marriage. First, they have to have some very honest talks. Second, they must set crystal clear limits on what is allowed, like what happens if someone catches feelings, or what are the rules about coming home late. And finally, they absolutely must protect each other by setting strict health and safety rules. But we have to be clear, this path is definitely not easy. Human emotions are incredibly complicated. When people try to separate sex and emotion, jealousy can absolutely still happen. Feelings can change so quickly, right? A physical relationship can suddenly turn into a romantic connection. And if those rules break down, it can cause some severe emotional pain. Plus, in some legal systems, like in Japan, breaking an open marriage agreement can bring huge legal risks. We're talking messy lawsuits and claims for money. So the risks are for sure very high.
Finally, we arrive at part 5, finding your own path. Let's talk about choosing what fits you.
The biggest takeaway here is that there is no single right way to live anymore. The old idea basically forced everyone into one single box, marriage. But humans are all so different. The new idea says that you get to design your own life. You have to choose the path that fits your own current life stage and your own needs. Honestly, what works for you in your 20s might not work for you at all in your 40s. And you know what? That is completely fine. You have the power to choose, and you can absolutely change your mind as you grow. The main goal is just finding a system that supports your actual real life. No matter which relationship style you end up choosing, you are going to need a strong foundation. You could be single, married, or polyamorous. But to truly avoid feeling lonely or stressed, you absolutely need 4 things. First, good health habits. Second, the ability to manage your own money. Third, small, safe friendships. And fourth, honest communication. Think about it. A partner is not going to magically solve your money problems, and having multiple partners won't make you healthier. These 4 keys are the real secret to building a stable life foundation.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought. Society is always going to try to tell you what you should do. They sell us the perfect wedding, or they sell us the dream of total independence. But at the end of the day, you are the one who has to live the reality. When you close your door at night, what relationship choice will truly bring you peace? Don't just follow the crowd. Be really honest with yourself about what you need. Thanks so much for joining me today. Keep learning and keep building the life that works best for you.